All right, Katie. I think it's
Hi,
good.
everyone. Welcome,
Pat.
welcome. All right, welcome, everybody. Thank you
Aloha.
so much for joining us. My name is Katie Zuber. Um, this is the Hawaii Farmers Union United, our 16th speaker series tonight. We really appreciate everyone coming on and joining us. We're super excited to have Rich, co-owner and founder of Whispering Winds Bamboo Cooperative Corporation, which is an employee-owned bamboo business in Kipahulu, Maui. He's going to talk with us today about bamboo. We also have here with us, as you heard, incredible Maui musician, Kalo farmer, and father of three boys, Pat Simmons Jr., who will be playing this Sunday, May 9th, 11 a.m. at Island Fresh Cafe in Paia. Super exciting. So if you're in Maui, go on out into Paia Island Fresh Cafe and support Pat on Sunday. Super bummed to announce that our chat is not working tonight. Very sorry about that.
Is it
Uh,
working? Let me say it's working.
Technical difficulties that we will fix. But for now, just enjoy the music, enjoy the chat, and I'm going to pass things off to Vincent Mina, president of Hawaii Farmers Union United.
Well, aloha, everybody. I think the chat's working though. I just
Oh,
sent.
yay! That's great
Yeah.
news.
So maybe it's on and off. I don't know, but you can, if you have any questions tonight, encourage you to put it in the chat, and we'll work to get to them.
It says it's chat disabled,
Okay, so it
but
is
no
not
worries.
working,
It's okay.
but that's okay. Enjoy the music, enjoy the talk, and Vincent, off to you.
Okay, so folks, I'm so happy to introduce this young man who's going to play tonight. It was 2 years, almost 2 years to the day, when May 20th, when our son passed, and after that, I had to get my family out of Dodge, and we went to Sicily, where I have family, and in this town called Castelbono. So here I am in this cafe in Castelbono, sipping some cappuccino with my daughter and wife, and over the loudspeaker, the music was "Listen to the Music" from the Doobie Brothers, and so it was very cool to have experienced that in Sicily. And that's Pat and his lineage from his dad, Pat Simmons Sr. from the Doobie Brothers, and Pat Jr. has been. It's been a wonderful path watching him grow. We were just talking about this and his evolution, not only as in music, but also as a young man, raising a family of three beautiful boys, and with his wife, and it just it's a beautiful testament to having a rounded life of his art and his connection to the āina and growing food for his family, and doing it in a way that is what HFUU represents in regenerative agricultural practices. So when I saw that this meeting was coming up with Rich, who agreed to generously give of his time tonight and talk about all things bamboo, I said, well, what me? Oh, Pat. Yeah, we got to get Pat to play music. And so thankfully, Pat, you appreciate that you jumped in there to do this. And
Automatic.
without any further ado, please give a warm listening attention to Pat Simmons Jr. Pat.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, mahalo. Yeah, this has been an interesting ride for me as I haven't been playing many live performances past year and a half or so, raising three little boys, twin boys. They're about a year and a half old now. So I've been busy with chasing these little kids around. I can barely practice a song without having to get up and chase them around. But yeah, it's good to be here, and I'm just going to start getting back into playing live music, so I'm excited. I want to play, I never know what I'm going to play, and I never planned what I was going to play for this, but I wanted to start off with a song that has the message of just returning to love, because that's what I see that the answer is for all these issues in our world, and issues in our community, issues in our family, issues within ourselves. It's just returning to love, and this is an original song I wrote called Love Vibration. It's not fully released yet, so the recording is yet to come. It's called Love Vibration. Get back to the love vibration. Get back to the love vibration. Return to the love vibration. It's all I know. It's all that I live for. Love is all I know. It's all that I live for. And all that I'm growing toward. Love lives within. Fear lives only if I let it win. Stillness speaks to me. I don't try to know. I just grow, and let it all go, and get back to the love vibration. Get back to the love vibration. Return to the love vibration. It's all I need. It's all that I am. Love is all I need. It's all that I am. And all that I choose. Choose to heal the wounds. The love inside of me can only be as free as the space between the grace that lies beneath and behind these eyes that see. Love is more powerful than any other cure. Love is more powerful than any other cure. I said love is more powerful than any other cure. A potent gift to lift me up, give me what I need. Get back to the love vibration. Get back to the love vibration. Return to the love vibration. Love vibration. Thank you guys so much. Mahalo.
Sweet.
Yeah, I wrote that song a handful of years ago, and it speaks for itself. Thank you guys. All right, let's see. I have a bunch of songs that aren't released, and I'm planning on recording them eventually. I know this is being recorded, and people get to listen to it, but I'm hoping to produce a real album with these tunes eventually. So this next song is called. Let's see. I guess I'll do one from my record that people can can hear out there that's already released. It's called The Mountain Song, or called Mauna Mele, really. And this is the title track to the song, to the CD that I recorded in 2017. I released it in 2017 and had Keali'i Reichel, who wrote the Hawaiian Olelo part for the song and really just blew the song out of the water even further. So this is called Mauna Mele. It was written about the standing for Mauna Kea and what everybody was doing over there in 2015 and again, this past year and a half. So again, it's just about protecting our beautiful places we love and for the future generations. It's called Mauna Mele. In the world of white and blue that grew mountain all the dolphins knew it would be a home that embraced so many faces who came across the sea on the wind and waves that gave so graciously to lead the way for the next generation. This mountain is sacred, giving life. This mountain is sacred, it has no price. This mountain is sacred, giving life. This mountain is sacred and it has rights. In the cracks on the back of new land began a single seed. The clouds were caught by a wall of green that breathed and reached to be so tall. The sky cried and the ground found a path for the water to float on down with the sound that water sings as it brings everything to life. The mountain shares the medicine, you and me, everyone in our family. What will we give back? Yalae, yalahoi, yalae, apapalani, yalae, yalahoi, yalae, apapanui, yalae. E ala hoi, e ala e na tupai na oiwi e ola e kalani, e ola ka honua, e ola ka ko a maulawa lai. Giving life, this mountain sacred. Giving life, this mountain sacred, it has no price. This mountain sacred, giving life. This mountain sacred, it has no price. This Mauna is sacred, giving life. This Mauna is sacred, it has no price. This mountain is sacred, giving life. This Mauna is sacred, giving life. This mountain is sacred, it has no price. Thank you so much, mahalo. Mauna Mele.
Beautiful, brother, beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Oh man, you're the connectivity to the land and how you work in the land, and then that coming through you and your music has been quite a gift to the community. So thank you so much. And
mahalo. Feels so good to sing for this is like the longest I've been able to sing for like a year practically. It's just all the kids running around. It's not easy to finish a song, yet finish a verse even if I have to like stop and catch some baby from peeing on something.
Well, we'll look forward to the end of the meeting here. You play at about 7:45, okay? And Thank you so much for being on. What a way to open up tonight's meeting. Beautiful, man.
Mahalo. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Right on, brother.
Cool. And about what time you want to come back on here?
About 7:45.
Sounds good.
All right.
Mahalo, you guys. Enjoy. Aloha. Have fun out there.
Aloha, Pat.
All right. Okay. Pat, fantastic as always. Thanks again to everyone for joining us tonight. I'm Katie Zuber, Membership and Communications for HFUU. If you're just joining us, we are recording tonight, so you'll be able to catch what you missed. I'm so sorry, everyone, that the chat feature is disabled. If you have any questions or problems, you can email me at hfuu@hfuu.org. It's just on the side of my screen here, so I will see that. So I recognize some names on here tonight as members of HFUU. Thank you so much to all of you for supporting the Farmers Union and all that we do. For those who are new here, we do have 13 chapters across the state. We keep very busy, so hopefully if you're not a member, you're thinking about joining, and I'm sure there's a chapter nearby doing some awesome things. I just want to share.
Katie, I think it's working right now too. You had the chat.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Cool. So 13 chapters across the state. If you're not a member, I'm sure there's one nearby. You can join. You'll get monthly emails from them about what events are going on and how you can get more involved with supporting local farmers. So here's some pictures of our convention last year. If you did miss one of our conventions, our 2020 November convention is online. So you can purchase that directly benefits HFUU. It's a donation to us, and then you get to watch this incredible convention, 55 different presentations, all of these musicians. I personally just watched the concert for the first time all the way through because I had a newborn when it first premiered, and I was just blown away. Mike and Nelson put it together, and he did an amazing job. So here's
Katie,
just a little list.
Katie, are we giving, for people that become members, we're giving them a link to the concert, right?
Yes. So if you want to sign up to be a member, we will send you a link to that concert for free. And then if you wanted the rest of the convention, you could purchase that as a donation. So yeah, that would be terrific. It's a win-win. The concert is just incredible. So I'm going to pass it off to Vince to talk more about what's going on statewide.
Katie, if you could put it back to the convention, please, our flyer there. Folks, I don't know how many people here attended our convention this past November. It was a virtual 4-day event. And the beautiful thing about it being virtually, we were able to get people like Paul Stamets, Dr. Elaine Ingham, Ray Archuleta from Kiss the Ground, the movie Kiss the Ground, and John Liu, who's doing regenerative agricultural projects throughout the world. Joel Salatin, Jeff Moyer from Rodale Institute. So, I mean, we had Dr. Zach Bush. So we were able to really get some heavy hitters in for this convention, being that it was virtually, because we would have never been able to afford to fly them in and put them up. So in that respect, it was really good. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, because we know we always love to get together physically. We're debating on what we're going to do this year. We're not quite clear about it yet. We'd love to have a physical conference, but we haven't decided, and we're working on that. But there is going to be a mini convention that's coming up in the end of June, beginning of July. And Vincent Kimura, our president of Waimanalo chapter, is on tonight, and he is shepherding that convention forward. And it's interesting because this being his brainchild at our last strategic planning last year, we had in Kohala at our president's ranch, Starseed Ranch in Kohala, Dash Kerr. We had it there, and Vincent came up with this and is bringing it forward and developing over the past year. And I'd like him to talk about it for a minute here. Vince, could you share about what's going to happen with this mini convention? Katie, you might have to unmute him.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
No, it's kind of cutting out, Vince. Your bandwidth isn't that strong for some reason. I don't know why.
Hello.
Okay, well, we can come back to you, Vince. Can't hear you. So anyhow, it's basically the mini convention that Vince is putting forward is basically going to have cover crop demonstrations to where we're going to be able to have several locations of this happening, and then we're going to have a chef come in and do some of their magic, so we can tie in this whole farm to table aspect of who we are, and be able to videotape all this. And Vince will be more articulate about the minutia of it. But the point being is that we're working on developing that for the end of June, beginning of July, and then we're planning on our strategic planning to happen back in Kohala from July 15th through the 18th. In the meantime, as a state organization, we're bringing together all of the agencies, all the agricultural agencies. We already had a meeting at the end of March, and we're having our next meeting the 18th of this month. And we're bringing all these agencies together to develop a strategy in soil health for the state. Because in essence, you know, we as agriculturalists and we as an organization feel as though we don't have an agricultural system here in Hawaii, and we need to develop one. And the only way, from my point of view and others on our board, the only way to develop an agricultural system is through living soils. And so this is the theme. We're collaborating with all these agricultural agencies in a way that we methodically will move this forward, as everyone will be co-creators of this. So then this way, as I like to put it, you know, each person that's coming to the table at these gatherings will articulate the lane that they're in and what latitude they have to bring all this forward. And so that this way we can put all those lanes together into a superhighway of, you know, communicating to legislature the policies that we want to see occur within developing this agricultural system, and then in a way that could invite and enhance the private sector to invest in it. So one of the strategies that we're looking at is to create a cover crop seed industry here in Hawaii, and that would enable us to not only grow our soils while at the same time produce cover crop seed that we can get to our farmers here in Hawaii. I mean, we are literally throughout the world known as paradise on earth, yet we're playing a very small game agriculturally. And I quip that we're a Lamborghini sitting in the driveway, so we need to take it out for a spin, an agricultural spin, and just truly, you know, not only raise our agricultural budget, which is a meager 0.4%, I think it's even 0.3% of the state budget, which is so disrespectful to farmers and to agriculture. So we need to not only raise that, but also raise the awareness of what policies we have that is in support of our agriculture here in Hawaii, so we can show up as the paradise of earth that we know to be. So with that said, all your support helps us bring this forward because numbers matter. We're a chartered chapter of the National Farmers Union, which means basically we have a vote at the table when I go and represent Hawaii, and I'm with all the other presidents of all the other states. And they have a lot of respect for Hawaii and our growth. We were chartered in 2017. It was the first time in 11 years that a state chapter had been chartered under National Farmers Union. And I just was recently voted onto the executive board of the National Farmers Union. So there's a lot of respect for Hawaii and what we've done. And it really is because of all you being members and continuing to support us, because the numbers do matter. The legislature, when we go in and testify, the amount of members that we have really speaks volumes to their ability to supporting what it is we want to bring forward, because they're looking to us for the leadership. And one of the things I really value is the fact that most of our presidents and our 13 chapters are producers. You know, so we're walking the talk. The people who are actually making a living at farming are the ones who are communicating in their chapters what they need, what is the unique pressures and what are the unique values of their particular regions. And so there's a lot going on within our organization to bring all this forward. And again, thank you for your support, everyone. So I want to move on now to our featured speaker tonight. This gentleman has been so supportive of HFUU. He's a brother of a different mother. just truly appreciate this man. He's come from many years of agriculture here in Hawaii, and I'll get to talk about more of the things why I appreciate him. But so right now, just let me introduce Rich von Wellsheim of the Organic Cooperative Whispering Winds Bamboo, employee-owned cooperative there in Kipahulu, beautiful downtown Kipahulu, Maui. Aloha, Rich.
Thank you, Vince. Aloha. Aloha, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight or tuning in, I guess it would be.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure
man.
to be here.
Good.
It's always a pleasure to support the efforts of the HFUU.
Well, thank you, brother. I know, you were the past conventions that we've had physically, one at old Koa Farms and Mahipona's land. You were gracious enough to donate all that bamboo, and Bobby Grimes made this beautiful shower, and you were helping making this shower out of bamboo for everybody who were there camping, and that was a beautiful thing. So, you touched our conferences in some beautiful ways there, Rich, and really appreciate
Thank
all
you. Thank you, Vince.
Yeah. So can you tell us some history about how Whispering Winds Bamboo was created there in Kipahulu? I mean, those lands were pasture lands, yeah, for the most part.
They were pasture lands, and they were full of feral cows. The rancher had kind of left a fairly significant number of cattle on the mountain. When the Heck family purchased the farm in the late 80s, it was overrun, it was denuded. Guava scrub and Christmas berry and Java plum were going wild. Less and less grass, more and more animals. Really was in a sad state. So we removed the cows and started a reforestation effort with the help of the Division of Forestry and Wildlife, part of the state Department of Natural Resources.
Beautiful.
And planted 100 acres of tropical timbers. While they are maturing, we were looking for a shorter term agricultural crop. Bamboo came onto our radar screen, and we looked at it. The price points in the marketplace seemed favorable to the effort. We thought timber trees and bamboo timber, maybe they went together. So we went for it. We planted 20 acres of the world's elite tropical timber, clumping bamboos. We were fortunate in able to take from the collection of bamboos that had been imported either legally or illegally over the years by a bunch of early bambooistas. And so we have the best of the best, I think. There's probably a few species out there that we would like, but by and large, Hawaii has just a great collection of bamboos, both landscape and timber, and edible shoot species that we're well poised to move into the future and make bamboo more a part of our lives.
Well, and it's such, like you said, such a versatile plant. The timber bamboo, when I was on your property and we were walking around the days of Jerry Brunetti when we met body and soil conferences, and the Guadawa bamboo, I mean, that is just so amazing, that bamboo, and the spirit that with the walls inside were like about an inch thick. Yeah.
The timber bamboos, the tropical timber bamboos are incredible in terms of growth and wall thickness, diameter, height. I mean, we have an asper here that's 100 feet tall, 7.5 inches in diameter, black, incredible, like little trees they are, that provide a yearly harvest unendingly. So it's a great material, it's a great resource. We're really committed to replacing the 2x4 here in the islands in those structures or those uses where it makes sense. We really hate the Costco carport. We think that bamboo is a more sustainable long-term use, and we'll keep those tarps and bent up steel out of our landfills.
Right.
So we've been pioneering non-residential uses, non-residences, because they're smaller structures. They don't need to be as fancy, but they're great. They hold up for a long time. We treat our bamboo with a borate salt so that it's resistant to termite and powder post beetle infestation.
Well, that's what I wanted
Under
to
a
talk
good
about, Rich. You got a grant to put in that curing facility. Can you speak about a little bit about that? You
Yeah, it's not a curing. It's not a curing facility. It's a treatment vessel.
Right on.
It treats our bamboo under pressure with the same borate salt that's used in the lumber that we import into the islands.
Oh, cool.
We use it. It draws. It's a big 30-foot long cylinder, 5 feet in diameter. We load it up with as many bamboo poles as we can fit in there, having drilled down the lengthways of the pole in order to open up all the internal membranes. Once it's in the cylinder, we lock it closed. We draw a vacuum and evacuate all the air, and then flood that bamboo with a borate solution, borate and water, and then put that under pressure, about 200 PSI for 90 minutes. And then we air dry it in our sheds and racks and under our houses and every place that we can find.
Right.
And that takes about 6 months out here in Kipahulu during the wet season. A little bit quicker when it's not so wet, but still takes a while. We're able to get the moisture content down to around 11%, 10% if we're lucky, which makes it a fairly stable building material. Very
cool. And you did a beautiful structure over there at Hana Farms, yeah? Was it Hana?
Yes, we did their farm to table.
Hana High School had
pavilion.
graduation. They had their graduation ceremony there several years ago.
They do. They lend it out to events in the community.
Right.
I think there was a prom there a year ago.
And what is the name of the business so folks can go check it out in Hana?
It is Hana Farms.
Hana Farms, right? Okay, yeah, right on.
Right, it's near the airport road there on your way into Hana from the Naiku side.
And so Rich, how many varieties of bamboo are you growing?
We have 65 varieties of bamboo in our collection.
Wow.
We actively grow about 12 timber species, and we have in our nursery about 17 landscape species kind of in stock at any given moment. And of course, we can propagate from the other 40 or so should someone, want a species that we don't normally propagate. Right.
I've been an advocate of where our wind corridors come into the island to plant, these tall bamboos to slow down our winds so we can start capturing more moisture on the island. It seems like everybody cuts down any trees that are on the coast for, any wind abatements for the view. And it seems like our island's drying out because of that. Yeah.
I think it is. And windbreaks, if you're growing crops, makes a world of difference. The NRCS finally allowed a farmer to grow some bamboo as a windbreak and help cost share that effort.
Cool.
We have some bamboo on the isthmus and the old sugar plantation, and it's slow to go in that windy area. It takes concentrated and concerted effort to nurse it up and going. But I think that as Mahi Pono gets into some new agricultural activities, I think windbreak's going to become a part of that.
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. And what's interesting too, Rich, is that I feel everyone that has land should have at least one stand of bamboo on it, because underneath in that leaf litter is the most amazing indigenous microorganism mycelial network that can be harvested and create a what we call IMO2 that is utilized to raise up the microbial activity of your land, whether you want putting a garden in or you're doing your farm, and exponentially be able to bring it out. So bamboo is the perfect plant to gather these indigenous microorganisms. So
for sure, and we're finding that the Lepista tarda native mushroom grows under our bamboo quite well, and provides a food source there as well.
Wow.
And then in addition to the timbers, of course, the edible shoots that some of our species provide are just a joy to eat and fun to harvest and come every year.
I just saw.
So yeah, I think
I just saw on your website 80,000 tons of shoots Taiwan eats a year.
I know it's
Pretty amazing.
a lot of calories there.
A lot of
And
calories.
it's a great food.
Great.
And we have a variety, the Nastus alatus, that you can eat raw. We pick it right out in the field and munch it down as we go about our business.
So are you?
So no cooking, no boiling and changing water and all that.
Are you?
Just eat it raw or cook it.
Right. And are you selling that on island? Are you?
We don't sell too much of it. We have a little bit, but one of the things about bamboo shoots is it does require refrigeration fairly quickly after harvest.
Okay.
We're off the grid, so we don't have that facility. We're managing most of our bamboo for timber, which is a little bit of a different management schedule than growing shoots.
Right.
But it's there.
Absolutely. And then didn't you at one point you brought cows into your operation? Can you speak a little bit about that as far as the understory?
We did. We once our timber trees got large enough and above the grazing level, we brought in 2 or 3 varieties of mostly dairy cows, but a little bit of meat to graze underneath it. And that's been extremely effective because the grasses don't stop growing out here on the Hana side.
Right.
And it's kept that down and managed. So we can go in with the cows for 3 or 4 days or a week. And then after the cows go out, go in there and manage the trees a little bit better. Even our fruit orchards will run the cows through sometimes.
Nice.
They just do a beautiful job, and they also provide some food and whatnot.
Right. And the whole idea of cows grazing, as those roots continue to grow down deep, you get that humic structure developed, and the whole idea of that's where carbon likes to live, is on those humates. So it's pretty cool that you're really providing a lot of this whole system of agricultural residents, in a sense, right?
Right. And it was really Jerry Brunetti who gave us the inspiration, really, and the knowledge and the information to go down that track.
Yeah, that was a beautiful time there with him, and yeah, that was special times we had. That was back in 2010 or 2011, I think it was. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so, Rich, what would you like to share with people that are thinking about growing bamboo on their land, and I don't know if the chat is working, Katie, or is people texting you questions, or because it's working for me. I don't know if it's working for everybody else.
I know it's only working for the hosts. So.
Oh, interesting. That's weird. Okay, well, sorry about that, folks. I do want to get some questions from people if they have for Rich. But Rich, what would you think?
Well, a couple things come to mind, Vince. One is the 2 kinds of bamboo that there are. We only grow the clumping bamboos, which means they grow like bananas, throwing new shoots right close to the mother plant every year. They don't run across into the neighbor's yard. They don't take over the native forest like the running bamboos along the road in East Maui, the road to Hana. And like anything agriculturally on your farm, it requires food and water and care and sunlight and not too much competition around. There's I think a mistaken thought that throw bamboo in the ground, it'll take off. It can survive in lots of places like that, but not in the Isthmus and Maui. It needs real care. It needs real concentrated effort to make it grow and perform at the level that it's capable of performing.
That's right.
So if you're thinking of putting bamboo on your farm, which I wholly support, you really want to think about, do you have the time, the effort, and the resources to really make it thrive?
Right on.
And then the other thing, of course, is species selection.
Yes.
Is to choose a bamboo that's right for the spot. We have bamboos that grow 10 feet high, 12 feet high to 120 feet high. You don't put a 120-foot bamboo next to your house.
Right. Well, you know, we're working with you right now too, with Irene having her Hawaiian homelands property. We're talking to you. It was wonderful having you come up and consult with us as to what bamboos would be good in certain areas around where the house is going to be, so on and so forth. So, and just some privacy bamboos. And so we're excited about moving forward with that. We have Dana has her hand raised. Let me see if I can get her
Oh, I
to
see that.
question. Dana, are you there?
Aloha. Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, dear.
Hi, I have some questions for you, Rich. We
Sure.
have some bamboo that's really thick, like the kind that you make furniture out of, and it's really tall, it's old. And we're just wondering like what it would take to process it, the labor to process it, and if there's any place that processes bamboo on Hawaii Island, and yeah, what that entails.
Are you on Hawaii Island, Dana? Is that where you're at? Yeah, okay. What part? What part of Hawaii Island?
I'm in Puna,
Oh, okay.
and so if there's anybody you can connect us with, because we do want to utilize, because as you know, shipping and gas is going up and the prices of wood is going up. And so we're looking for alternative building materials for like making our IMO sheds and our pens and different things like that. And so, but we want to be realistic. If it's going to be expensive to process it, like what would it would actually take to work on a large scale with the ohe. We have ohe everywhere on this island growing, but nobody's really processing it. Or I mean, I know Bobby Grimes does it, but he's not here right now. And so if you can give us some leads on someone that we can connect with here.
I don't know if Leimana Pelton is looking for more bamboo, but he has a small grove that he's harvested from and built buildings and treated and used and managed his groves. I think the important thing for you, Dana, is making sure that you treat whatever you harvest if you're going to use it for a long-term building. I know the folks over at HPM in Hilo would take people's bamboo and put it through their treatment vessel. That's key. If you're going to go to all the trouble of harvesting and grading and making things, you really have to take the insect infestation out of the picture, and borate treatment is that.
Rich,
and
what
there
about
there's some homemade treatment methodologies that you can use and find online. And if you can't, you could email me at bamboo@wildblue.net and let me know what you're looking for there, and I can turn you on to some of those. If you have a large amount, I would suggest you get in touch with the folks at HPM. It's important when you harvest for timber that you harvest an old enough culm or pole. So anything less than 3 years out of the ground as a shoot is a little young. 4, 5, 6 years is prime. And after that, it begins to degrade and lose strength. We mark our bamboo poles at the end of every year. The new shoots get a different color. So we know the age of every pole of the 2,000 clumps that we harvest from. You can tell that a little bit by the amount of lichen and the grayness that happens as the pole matures. You know, the fresh shoots are green and vibrant, and beautiful. And then a year down the line, they're a little less so in 2 years, less than 3 years. And then pretty soon you've got lichen and moss and everything else growing on them. But I would suggest that you go in there this year with your new shoots and pick a color and paint all the new shoots in your clumps. Telling the age is going to save you from using a pole that's less than prime.
Yeah, I was impressed.
We're really committed. I'm sorry, Vince?
I was impressed by how you color grade everything, you know, when I was on the farm. And what about salt water curing? Is that
I've never seen any real data, experimental data out of the Research Institute that suggests that is effective with bamboo. Bamboo is hygroscopic, and so it automatically draws water to it. Salt water is hygroscopic. The last thing that we need in the humid environments that we live in is something drawing water to it, because then you're going to get mold and mildew. So
Okay.
while you may give it some insect resistance, you're going to attract the molds and mildews to it, and that's not that much fun either.
Right on.
So
It's good to
I'd
know.
love to know some more about salt treatment of woods and bamboo in particular, if someone had it out there. But right now, I think the borate salt is a surefire way
Right.
of protecting your bamboo for long-term use.
Oh, great. Great. Well,
Do
thanks.
you know how the Polynesians process, like how do you have that information? How we actually processed our ohe?
So the OA refers to the one bamboo that the Polynesians brought on their canoes. And that's a long internode, 3-4 inch bamboo that they use primarily for the hula, and also a lure or fishing trap that they made. And I wish I had a picture of it. It's a beautiful little thing, but not so much for building. And like all the indigenous cultures, when it rotted out, they just went out and harvested some more and put it back together. And that being said, I spoke with a gentleman from the Philippines who used to say to me, oh, my grandfather would only harvest the bamboo in the 3rd week of April. And he said, if you harvested any other time of the year, it would rot.
Mhm.
We're missing that indigenous information here on the planet, and particularly in the West.
So Rich, in your
In the
travel,
West, we've only been interested.
I just have one more question and I'll let you go back.
Sure.
Can you tell us what are the best varieties to build with? I understand that their life expectancy is like 30 to 40 years. And so I'm just wondering, what are the best varieties for us to harvest to build with? Thank you, by the way, for answering that.
The Guadawa angustifolia, and the Hirosi or Old Hamian, the Aspers, Latiflorus, Adder, Apis, Pseudoarundinaceae, and then the black bamboos, the Hitam, the Atro, the Laco, Brandisii. There's others out there. What you're looking for is the feeling of denseness when you tap it and the thicker wall that the tropical bamboos give you.
well, that's a very interesting segue into that, Rich, because we were just at Starseed Ranch for our strategic planning last year, and Dash has some beautiful bamboos that were planted there, Kenny Loggins' property. And the sound of the bamboos hitting each other is quite a concert.
Right?
Yeah, and your whispering winds. I mean, the winds that come through Kipahulu, you must have some interesting sounds with all the bamboo on your property.
For sure. For sure.
Can you
Beautiful.
speak a little bit about, in your travels, what did you find about some of the subtleties of bamboo along the way?
Well, like I was saying, in places where it's native, people have used it for millennia, and they've used it in such a way that they've been able to replace a component that's gone bad or got bug infested, or they would just start with a whole new building. It was a different mindset around what they were using it for. It was not uncommon for a person to build a house and then 15 years later need to rebuild the house again.
Mhm.
They weren't as complex or as intricate as our buildings are here in the West. And so they had a material that was readily available. I'm sure they knew the best tide, the best moon, the best time of day, the best time of the month to harvest to give them that longevity. But ultimately the bugs and time would take care of it, but they would just replace it. And that's, we can't do that anymore. Labor's too expensive. We don't have the time to put a new, even thatching our hollies with palm fronds, right? 4, 5, 6 years, you're at it again.
Right,
It's not cost effective or particularly sustainable.
right. And
So we need to adopt methodologies that allow our bamboo to live beyond those shorter cycles that the indigenous folks were happy to live with.
So you
Or-
brought in some experts, yeah, that were building experts. I mean, I saw where they were filling the bamboo culms with cement and doing cantilevers. And can you speak about some of that, please?
So yeah, we were heavily influenced, and we had the opportunity to bring Simon Velez here to the islands in 2005, I think it was. And he had pioneered a system of filling the culm with concrete and then bolting through it so he could put compression on the bolts. And he built incredibly huge, majestic buildings throughout Colombia and even in Germany. He did one for the Hanover Expo in 2006, I think, or 2004.
Wow.
Beautiful building, massive work. And he had a bevy of craftsmen working with him whose combined history and genetic pool of bamboo craftsmanship went back thousands of years.
Wow.
And so they were able to create things that we're just trying to figure out how to do here. And of course, they didn't pay their craftsmen what we pay our manual laborers here. So we're having to take some of those ideas and modify them for today's labor prices and market. But we were influenced by his work for sure. Gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
Simon Velez, Marcelo Villegas, beautiful work out of Colombia.
And they were like 20-foot out cantilevers. Yeah, that would just.
I think he did a golf course clubhouse with a 53-foot cantilever out front.
What? Amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
All out of Guadalupe bamboo.
Wow. Wow. So guadua, one of the features of guadua is that it's thorny, right? It has thorns on it.
It is. It is.
And then you
It's
were
a,
saying
it's a thorny bamboo, which is it's a nuisance. But we found that once you learn to work with it, and we keep the branches up above head height, so when we're walking through the plantation, it's not a problem. When we go to harvest, it just takes a little bit more care and effort, but it is a beautiful building material.
Right on. Truly. Yeah. Yeah. Is the chat working, Katie? For questions? No, it's not. Oh, it's too bad. We got to figure that one out. So Rich, talk about what you would like to share with folks regarding some of your experiences around the development, your evolution with bamboo over the years.
Well, one of the things that the state legislature did, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago on behalf of farmers is they legislated a exemption to the building codes and building permit process for farmers. And I'm not sure everybody knows this, but you now can, and this goes for all the islands in the state, build up to 1,000 square feet of non-residential agricultural use buildings without a permit. You do have to register your building prior to construction and then file a one-page completion of project form. There's no inspection, there's no permitting cost. You do have to verify with the planning department in your counties that you're not building in a flood zone. But it's allowed farmers to build tractor sheds, food processing, farm to table pavilions, like the one we did for Hana Farms,
Right.
without the onerous expense of a building permit process with all the inspections that requires. Now, if you're going to put plumbing or electricity in that building, those two trades do need to be permitted.
Right.
But you don't have to build to code. You don't have to use code approved materials. You can use whatever you got around the farm, put up a building, get your tractors out of the weather, process your food under cover, grow nursery plants, whatever you want, whatever agricultural use you need, you can now build a building for a lot less than you used to be able to. And I think that's important for people to know.
And the vibration of it. I mean, just when you walk into a bamboo building, there's just a sense of I don't know. What comes over me is just this really good feeling of what it represents. Just the colors and the nodes, and it's just amazing material.
And so we've begun, Vince, to build pole barn style buildings where you put a pole in the ground and then put a roof on top using the Keawe wood coming out of the dry side of the island and a bamboo roof structure and a metal roof. So there's no concrete, there's very little imported materials. We usually put a metal roof on top because that's important. But we think they're the greenest buildings on the island or islands. And they're coming off pretty cost effectively. We can scale them any size.
Beautiful.
Our bamboo is not approved for code buildings, permitted buildings as a structural component. That's a fairly rigorous and expensive process, which we have yet to undertake. And short of a miracle grant, we won't undertake for a little while yet.
Well, that's the
So
whole.
the 203 exemption process allows us to use our bamboo in these agricultural buildings statewide. And that's been a fairly good market for us.
Well, that's good, because that's the whole rub that I was talking about earlier, as far as us not having an agricultural system. If we have the infrastructure in place to support, just like what you were talking about there, to get the coding done, to so you don't have to, farmers don't have to put up that kind of initial investment, that there is a value for all this to be done to where we could get the funding from private sector. It's, I just see it as a no-brainer in utilizing what this island can produce, and produce in a way that is regenerative based on the what you have going on there at Whispering Winds. I mean, that place is a church, and you walk into your fields, and it's just a beautiful feeling that there is there. And I just really appreciate the fact of your leadership over the years. And it's not easy to develop what you folks have developed. But you want to talk a little bit about your cooperative there?
Well, in the late 2007, 2008, the owner came to us and said, I need an exit strategy from this. What would you do to carry on this effort that we've been putting out and kind of get me out of the picture? And so we were employees of her, and so we created an employee-owned cooperative, and we bought the business assets from her and leased the land, which we've been doing now for the last 11, 12 years. And it's been going good. We've had some lean years, and this year looks to be a better year than we've had ever. I think bamboo's just getting some traction. The folks at Mahi Pono have contacted us about a bigger bamboo planting. We're hoping to scale this thing up. That's our big hope, is that we think that bamboo could be the biochar that's behind your head there, Vince.
Well, that's actually, this is worm castings.
Oh, those are the worm castings. All right, looks like biochar to me. But to get into a big biochar energy production, soil enhancing,
good
biomass process somewhere over there on the isthmus where there's land and water and whatnot. We hope that we can make that happen at some point with those folks.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's interesting. I just testified at the county recently, and someone testified after going, because I spoke about a partnership with Mahi Pono. We don't get paid with Mahi Pono, but we're working with them in relationship, an agricultural relationship. They have our apprentices go on their land for $150 an acre per year, which is unheard of, to get a couple acres of ground to where they can remediate and do regenerative agricultural practices on and restore those soils. So, Mahi Pono has invested like $100 million in their agricultural operation already. So it's wonderful to hear, that they're very much interested, and they're part of our working group to put in cover crops and develop cover crop seed. And it's wonderful to hear that they were really interested to do in a big way to get bamboo in there. It would only behoove them to have that kind of windbreak material in there, and also to develop their lands in a way that really gives the stability of heavy winds coming through as it normally does there in the isthmus. So I would really love to encourage, and I talked to Shan about this when he first came into his job there. He asked me what I would do at that isthmus. I said, well, the first thing I would do is plant a forest, on the windward side. I'd plant a forest to slow down these winds that come into these wind corridors, on our island.
Absolutely.
As a matter of course, so it would be great that, they could aggressively move forward once they get their traction and start seeing some return on investment of all the money that they've invested, But it really, I think, requires the state to step up in a bigger way. And I don't want to get on.
I think so too, and I think that soil remediation that you're talking about is important too. The soils are so deep down there. We need to get that biome back in there, that microbiological life going,
Right.
And that's going to take a big effort.
And I see on tonight's meeting we have Bob Schaefer, the agronomist, here on the call tonight. Bobby, are you there? Can you unmute? And Bob did one of our speaker series earlier, and I'd just like him to say hi to everybody and what he thinks about tonight's session. Bobby, are you there? Katie, can you unmute Bob? Anyhow, this has been a really enlightening talk tonight, Rich, and I'd like to hear more about your world travels too, while we're waiting for Bob maybe to jump in here.
Also, if anyone has
we were
any other
fortunate to go to.
questions. Oh, hi Bob.
Can you unmute him, Katie?
Oh, that was Rich. I'm trying to, and it's.
That's okay. But talk about your world travels as far as bamboo, around the world, what you were finding around the world. And
so we went to a 17-day bamboo symposium in Southeast China in 2004 to see what the Chinese were doing. And of course, they lead the effort in bamboo technology and bamboo products and bamboo everything. And it was fascinating that they use 98% of the plant that they harvest.
Wow.
And they've managed and those are running bamboo forests native to the area. And they just manage them up the hilt. And all the products that we see in the store were all developed there. They have domestic products and products for export. They're making biochar out of the pieces that can't be used for anything else. They're making t-shirt fabric out of the shavings that come out of the mills. Every little step of the way, they took a waste product and created a product for sale. And the farmers were just doing really well. And all these little processing steps along the way, the universities were in helping with the problems. They set up chutes, canning operations. When the price in the fresh market dropped too low, then they would buy the chutes from the farmer at a guaranteed price until the price came back up again, can them, and then recan them for export when there was more time in the off season. They developed all sorts of agronomic techniques for making the shoots come earlier in the season, so the value went up, making them shoot in the off season, some of the species that they were doing. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's just an incredible thing to see.
Well, that's the whole.
And they invited folks from countries all around the world to share that technology and that system, so that people could take bamboo into their worlds. Right
on. Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, we're like we were talking about earlier, there's such a small game being played here in Hawaii where we could play a lot bigger a game, and you've seen it happen around the world. I get tickled when I hear all the different value-added products in an agricultural system that can come from bamboo, can come from hemp, all this history that we've had around these products being used, and yet we don't tap into it. So hopefully along the way, Rich, I'm gonna one of our meetings, I want to have you present to that group in the spirit of developing this agricultural system, because I think it's really important that we have experts like yourself that speak to based on results, what's possible, as opposed to just theory. Yeah. And because you're in the trenches, you're waxing on and waxing off in those trenches every day and finding out all the knowledge that you've accumulated all these years, and then sharing it freely with everybody. It's really a wonderful thing. I wanted to touch on before we leave tonight, because I don't know, I mean, we have 33 participants on this particular call right now, and which will exponentially go out as we post this. But could you just give? I know a lot of these people are probably very well schooled on the difference between clump and running bamboo. But could you just elaborate on that, please, to make sure that people understand the difference?
Yeah, for sure. So the running bamboos, the bad guys, we like to call them, particularly in an island ecosystem, have a rhizome or a root that can travel 10 meters, 30 feet in 1 year. And then anywhere along that rhizome, throw up a pole or a shoot that becomes a pole. So the advance of the army of a running bamboo is significant, particularly if it's your neighbor's property that it's going to. Really a pain in the neck, and very, very hard to stop. Not impossible, but hard. The running bamboos that we have here on the island are often thin-walled, not particularly good building material, and on slopes that make them hard to harvest. I get a lot of people saying, well, let's harvest the running bamboos and make biochar. Be great, but they're not on the flatlands where we could go in and mechanically harvest and do that.
Right.
So we want to stay away from that morphology of bamboo, the runners.
And that's why Kamoi, yeah. That's why Kamoi, yeah. That's running bamboo, right? Why Kamoi?
Yep. Basically 2 species, Phylostachys tutsic and Phylostachys aurea, are primarily the 2 running species. There's others for sure, but those are the big bad boys, at least on East Maui.
And what happens when they flower? In my understanding, when they flower, the same species flowers around the world at the same time or something, or every 100 years. Could you clarify that a little bit, please? Oh, it looks like he's frozen in time here.
Oh, shoot.
Are you there, Rich? Oh, we've been kipahulu'd.
Or he's just deeply in thought. Let him.
Yeah, deeply in thought, right, Pat? Pat, do you have any bamboo on your property?
I have a few different clumps of bamboo, that were actually here planted when we moved here 25 years ago. They were planted by the Chinese Hawaiians that were here, that lived here for generations. They planted them years ago.
Beautiful. That's great.
Clumping varieties, like 80-foot tall clumping ones.
Are you gathering IMOs from them?
Well, there's tons of mulch, and I've actually been using it to build various things, so like little wood drying spots, and eventually we want to build like a little keiki, like outdoor play shelter, not just out of
right.
But it's real thick, heavy, dense bamboo. It's not the wispy stuff. It's real heavy.
Right.
Like the dinner plate size, like big, huge ones.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the sound of them when they blow into each other is pretty amazing. Yeah.
And it's cool because the Chinese Hawaiian family that was there, they were harvesting the shoots for generations that their great grandfather planted in the plantation times, and then they walked away from it, and now it's just this wild clump. There's like three different clumps.
Love
it. Eventually we want to get around to utilizing it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry that Rich happened to have a little
there,
but
he was concerned about the bandwidth. Nina, you have a question? Wait a second, you're muted, dear. Katie, can you unmute Nina?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I have bamboo in big pots, and I don't know whether it's clumping or running bamboo. I foraged it from people that were, sorting out their bamboo. But I do want to get some land soon, and I want to plant it for windbreak. But I wanted to know if there's a way to contain even the clumping bamboo if you don't want it to keep moving. Maybe I only have a half an acre and I don't want it to be all bamboo. How do you contain it?
I can
that's a great question for Rich that you can contact him.
I can answer that a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
I actually lived at Whispering Winds for like 8 months, so I got to work with Rich Monday through Friday for like 8 months a few years ago. So I got to work on that property, and pretty much the bamboo sends up a shoot every year, I believe, and every so often, and you can just if you don't want it to spread, it just cut that shoot.
Oh,
it's just a little small. It starts out like a little 1 foot little shoot out of the ground, so you can just cut it, and then it won't spread. And the clumping bamboos, like the variety I have growing here, the thing is like, could be 100-year-old clump, and it's maybe 10 feet wide. So I mean, it's a clumping. The clumping varieties don't get invasive; they stay in one spot. They get wider and wider. But I mean, the variety I have is like could be 100 years old, and it's only like 15 feet wide.
Wow, that's good to know. And did you get the email of Rich something?
Yeah, Wild Blue. What is it? It was. Oh gosh.
I'll make sure to connect you after this.
You can just look up Whispering Winds Bamboo online as well.
Pat,
Yeah,
thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful website. So check out his website, and he also has a great brochure that has all the different varieties and the heights that they'll get and stuff and pictures. So yeah, they've done a really good job there, and we're fortunate to have them on island. Do I see anybody else raising their hand? Well, this has been quite a wonderful chat tonight. Really appreciate Rich being on. I'm sorry that he couldn't finish articulating the differences between the both. And just to say, aloha to him. Is such a great friend. But we'll be back in touch with him, and he'll come back and do another one, I'm sure, at some point. I would really appreciate if folks that are attending these would send us information, send Katie any information about who you would like to hear or what subject you would like to hear addressed in our chats, in our fireside chats. And then if you're a musician out there, if you'd like to play, I know last week we had, or the last time we had our speaker series, Drew Martin played, and he's playing in Paia also this weekend. He contacted me, and he's playing at the Paia Cafe, I believe. Yeah, Saturday.
Paia Bay Coffee, maybe.
Yeah, Paia Bay Coffee Saturday.
Cool. It's good to know those guys are open or running music again. That's a great.
Yeah, you'd be there too, and so you're going to be 11 o'clock on Saturday, Pat.
Sunday, actually, yeah. I just got off for like a Sunday brunch thing. It's hard for me to
Mother's
go out and
Day.
play. Yeah, right. It's hard for me to go out and play in the evening with kids. Like even this was kind of a stretch. Like my wife's putting twin babies to sleep right now while my son hangs out with grandparents.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been not easy to go out and play gigs, so I took the daytime offer.
Well, give mom and dad our best, please, and also your wife. They're supporting you to be here tonight.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
So you want to take us out, man?
Sure, I'd love to play a couple more tunes. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, and thank you for supporting HFUU. So please support Pat and listening to his music, and as we end this tonight. Aloha.
All right, thank you guys so much. Again, my name is Pat Simmons Jr. For those who don't know, from Maui here. I'm a farmer / musician / father, and I like to play a song that I wrote recently. I've been doing a taro patch restoration workday every week for about just over 2 years now. We've been restoring traditional lo'i Kalo systems and taro patch systems in East Maui. And this is a song I wrote called, it actually doesn't even have a name, but I wrote this song right after we started opening the waters. And this buddy from Kauai, who's from Hanalei Valley, he's a taro patch expert. He came over and taught us how to restore the awa and restore the flow. And he said, look for the flowing water and just dig it out and open it up. And so I wrote this song, and this is dedicated to him. He's actually his wife's having a baby, I think, right now. So this is for him. One, two, three, look for flowing water. 5, 6, 7, open up the floodgate. All it takes is one man with power for 2 hands. When we work together, we will feed this whole island. I know that this āina is ready for maka āina. Come back home to Jah. I know that these waters are free, meant to flow down this mountain to connect with the sea. 1, 2, 3, time to act for the key. 5, 6, 7, don't wait for the government. Got 1, 2, 3, huli for you and me to plant. 5, 6, 7, culture must perpetuate. From Mauka to Makai, we must return the vibe for all of us. So pai o puhi vai, and Kalo will always provide. I know that this āina is ready for maka āina now. Come back home to Jah. I know that these waters are free, meant to flow down this mountain to connect with the sea. I know this āina is ready for maka āina now. Come back home to Jah. I know that these waters are free, meant to flow down this mountain to connect with the sea. 1, 2, 3, watch out for resource thievery. 5, 6, 7, do your bit to regulate. Got 1, 2, 3, we open our LOE. 5, 6, 7, in every single valley to teach the old ways, to teach the old ways for our children. Gonna teach the old ways. I know this āina is ready for maka āina now. Come back home to Jah. I know that these waters are free, meant to flow down this mountain to connect with the sea. 1, 2, 3, look for flowing water. 5, 6, 7, open up the floodgate. 1, 2, 3, look for flowing water. 5, 6, 7, open up the floodgate. Mahalo.
How sweet. Maka āina na, baby.
Maka āina na, yeah, people are returning to opening up the taro patch systems, and it's remarkable. We're actually in the middle of our, this past weekend, we started opening up an ancestral area where there's a lot of old stone walls, and we're just clearing the how bush and clearing the weeds, and it's, instead of just making our own taro patches, we're now at the point where we're restoring the old walls, which is really special. And these are places that haven't been farmed since the tsunami of 1946, pretty much. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Anyway, thank you guys. Cool.
No, I had the fortune of working with Uncle Harry Mitchell for a while there, and it was a beautiful thing. Met him on a Koho'olave, and he, around the campfire, he was asking if anybody wanted to come inside KNI and work with him, and I was the only one that took him up on it, and I was so fortunate I did, and so I was mentored by Kupuna Mitchell, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
So special. I'm really blown away by the, after I grew up here and studying the traditional agricultural systems, and I was just so blown away by the Lo'i system when I was a kid, and I'm finally getting a chance to open them up and learn, and it's really quite amazing just understanding. It's a brilliant permacultural system that they had, and it was just tried and true, like tested for generations. They had it dialed, so I'm really excited to open it up more, and there's just all these vacant lands, all these vacant streams that are full of old Lo'i, so it's pretty cool and exciting, and I love to eat Kalo, so that's my
right on. Truly, me too. Yeah. I hear you, brother. Yep. When you work with the taro patch, you crave it.
Yeah. And anybody wants to come work, we need more hands. It's just total volunteer style, and you can reach out to me personally if you want to know the details.
And you have people their contact information? Yeah,
they can just email me, Pat Simmons Jr music@gmail.com. That's the best way. You can just find me on Facebook or Instagram. And it's just a once a week we go and work every Saturday morning from like 9 to 12, and just volunteer. Everybody comes. Keiki, you never know who's gonna show up, just like for fun. So if you want to come, just reach out. I'll give you the details. I got any time for one more, or what do you think?
Oh, absolutely, please.
One more, cool. Okay, I want to play this tune here. This is kind of bring it back to the mission here. This is a song called Future Generation. And that's everything we're doing, everything that I'm doing, being a parent right now, is I'm just dedicating a lot of the work to the future generations. And even though I'm not being super productive with my music, I'm at least trying to pass on these valuable values to these valuable ways of life to my children. So it's called Future Generation. It's not about me. It's not about the music. It's not about what I know. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's all about the future generation. It's not about money. It's not about growth. It's not about business. It's not about that sacred oath. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's all about the future generation. If you want to do good, if you want to do plenty, if you really want to end the fight, please pay close attention to what is right. It's not about war, it's not about disease, it's not about policy, it's not about sanctity, it's not about you, it's not about them, it's all about the future generation. It's not about you, it's not about them, it's all about the future generation. If you want to do good, if you want to do plenty, if you really want to end the fight, please pay close attention to what is right. I said, if you really want to end the fight, please pay close attention to what is right. It's not about me. It's not about this show. It's not about the music. It's not about what I know. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's all about the future generation. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's all about the future generation. It's not about you. It's not about them, it's all about the future generation. Future generation, thank you so much.
So Pat, I have a request, brother.
Yeah.
At our concert this year, you and your dad did Decisions. Could you play your music, the song you wrote about decisions?
Sure, yeah.
That'd be
Totally.
great.
So we're gonna release a really rad version of this song pretty soon. We're gonna work on a music video for it first.
Oh, good.
And then it'll be out hopefully this year sometime. But it's called Decisions. And this is, it's funny, the version that on the record is gonna be a little different. But I originally wrote the song as like a kind of a roots reggae tune, and so I want to play the little roots reggae vibe for this one. But then the version you'll hear on the recording will be different. So it's just a unique version. It's called Decisions. It's about, my mom was kind of bugging me when I was younger, saying, "What are you doing with your life? You gotta stop going surfing every day, go do some valuable stuff." And she didn't think that was so valuable. But I said, "I'm gonna make my own decisions, Mom." I'm gonna make my own decisions. I'm gonna make my own decisions. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. Spend the day in my garden, the food, but I'll enjoy your morning surf first. The sun can be hot when I'm out in the shade. In no time like now, it's mine to decide. 'Cause I am a man now, a father and a husband, and I'm gonna make my own decisions. I'm gonna make my own decisions. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. All of these decisions can take the visions to make them reality. Just one simple decision can change this moment of our history. 'Cause I am a man now, a father and a husband, and I'm gonna make my own decisions. I'm gonna make my own decisions. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. With the rocks and the cheese and the breeze as my witness. I'm gonna make my own decisions. Listening to my heart. Listening to my heart. Listening to my heart. Listening to my heart.
Woo-hoo, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Beautiful, Pat. One more time, tell people where you're going to be this Sunday.
This Sunday at Island Fresh Cafe in Paia, just above Paia town, little place next to the Yoga Shala. And it's a little cafe with organic food and whatnot. And they offered have me play at 11 a.m. I know I just found out it's Mother's Day recently. didn't know that. But yeah, if you want to have a nice little Sunday brunch, come on out with your mother. And,
there you go. Absolutely. And please give our happy Mother's Day to your mom and to your wife, and all the best to you folks. Pat, it's been such a treat.
Thank you so much, Vince. Thanks for hosting an awesome series too. This is cool. I wish I could have stuck around and heard more of Rich, but had to go.
Well, it'll be on recording. It'll be on recording, so you can get to see it for sure.
Awesome.
We'll have that up on our website. And all the best, brother. You take good care, and I look forward to seeing you up at Maui Bees. And when I go deliver, I'm going to run into you folks up there. So it's been a great time to check you out. I wanted to, and I wanted to let everybody know too. Mary from Mary Spadaro from Slow Money Hawaii is on the call tonight. We're going to have more of that featured as we go forward for people to be able to access funding for their projects. So we'll tell you more about that as we go forward.
And I just wanted to say briefly before I leave that if anybody wants to come out and get in the Lo'i and experience it and help restore what we're doing out there, just reach out to me. We really need more hands. It's just a handful of us that do it every week. So,
absolutely. And again, to get in touch with you is Pat Simmons Jr. at Gmail.
It's Pat Simmons Jr. Music at Gmail.
Music.
Or just find me on Instagram and Facebook. That's the best
way.
There you go.
Okay, it's good. Yeah. Good. All right, brother.
Thank you, guys.
And aloha.
Thanks, Pat.
Sounds
awesome.
Oh, thank you. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you too, brother. And everybody, thank you so much again. In a couple of weeks, I think we're going to have Ken Love back. And we're working on getting Mike Love. We like to do the Love Fest again. So we'll see. Stay tuned in 2 weeks. And thank you all so much for being here tonight. It's been a joy to do this speaker series. And I want to thank Vincent Kimura and Katie Zuber and all the HFUU team for making this happen. And we'll just continue to do it as much as you folks want it. So be well, everybody. stay positive and test negative. Aloha.
Bye.